Hi, this is George. This is the second Random Doodle Tuesday. I'm using my B paper that I cut out to size using my paper cutter. And this is the B paper. It's 100% watercolor paper. It's a 6x9, but I cut it down to, in this case, a 4.5, basically, to a 4, kind of. And I'm going to draw a little bit of a border. I could use a ruler with that, but I'm not overly concerned on the actual measurements, so let's see. About a half an inch on either side, all the way around. So I'm going to break out my pens. In this case, I'm using my Staedtler 8 pigment liner, and I'm going to start out with a kind of wide in this 1.2, and that's the size. I like to use different point sizes because it adds very variety to your doodle. And let's see, I'm going to pencil in. Some geometrical shapes, kind of a circle. And you can see that I went over the line. That's okay. And see. Now, in some of my other videos, when I combine shapes, I do it sometimes on a watercolor background. But today I'm going to basically do it with just black on white. And I'm going with the wider nib. I like to pull the pen towards me because if I go this way, it's a chance of having more wonky lines. And I'm using my phone as a camera, and sometimes my phone doesn't realize that what I'm doodling is more important than my hands. So sometimes there's a bit of blurriness going on. this is more or less a preliminary idea, and as I progress, I don't know how I'm going to fill all these things in, but you'll be there with me. Alright, so another thing I like to do, and I'm going to do it today with this, is round out the edges where one or more points come together. I like to do this because it adds weight to my doodle and it's relaxing. So try it out for yourself to see if you like doing it. Now with this one, I'm still using a kind of broader point than the 1.2 that I was using, but this one had a bit more control over the space. And remember to rearrange your paper to make it easier on you. My camera, is right up here, so it's a few inches from my drawing paper or board, and I have to like kind of bend sideways in order to see what I'm actually doing. So take your time. It doesn't matter if you go over the lines, like here. I will include them as a purposeful mistake. And when you're done, nobody will able to tell if it was an accident or something you planned. And every so often, sit back and look at your doodling so you can see if you're mixing out on anything. Okay. Now I don't know if I want to do any rounding with the frame. I won't know until I go for it. But in the meantime, I'm going to get rid of a lot of lines. Make sure you let your ink dry. The Statler is quick to dry, and I like the Statler also because it's waterproof. Some pens say they're waterproof, but I don't think they are. Like micron pens are great, but they're not 100% waterproof. So if I want to include any watercolor or ink tints, then I'm sure that these won't bleed out the edges. Okay, let's go with this, and I'm basically drawing in some extra lines. I do this sometimes when I do bookmarks. And since Valentine's Day is coming up, let's do a Valentine heart. And again, I'm just messing around. Okay, so let's go with the 07. And let's go in with the hearts. And a bit over the frame. And I like this carrying through. A little bit of a wavy line so it's more organic and not something that is thrown together with your favorite art program on your laptop. And that's a little bit open here, so let's say we close it off a little bit. And again, don't worry about your lines being smooth. This is a doodle, by the way. A little thin, so extend it out a bit. Going back with the number 0.7. I'll try to have the, sorry about that, the video sped up when I'm not speaking, so it's not a really long video for you. And if you want to, you can always fast forward it. The controls are down there. So I'm going to continue with the rounding out. And remember, you don't need to grip the pen tightly. Just glide along the paper. So, question of the day. Do you like to use geometrical shapes in your doodles? And if so, what's your favorite shape? A hard edge like that, a round edge like a circle, a heart? Let me know in the comments. That way I can more tailor make my content to fit your preference. And since I went over the line a little bit, I included that. And one over here. So again, you can fix anything that comes up. After all, this is just a doodle, so no worries on the end result. Yeah, okay. See how the pencil is over? I'm going to incorporate that in the doodle, and this one too. See, everything is peachy keen. And likewise, that now becomes a space. I'm going to round out a little bit on the frame because I like rounding out. and a little bit of curve on my border here. Going in with my eraser again. To clean up everything. Now, normally I would add some detail using my signal unit ball signal 0.28, but or using the 0.05, which is again very tiny, but I'm going to do a little bit, not much. I like these because these pens from Staedtler do good, but they wear out a little bit, and depending upon your usage is too much. Whereas this is more like a ballpoint pen. So I'm going to add a little bit of detailing. Not a lot, but some. You can add as much detail as you want, but since this is fun time for me, I'm not going to go crazy. Although I could, but I'm not going to. And just some contour lines. To give it a bit more dimensionality. And since I like flowers, I'm going to go in with something simple. And another flower over here. And I'm going to basically what I'm doing is clamp here and quickly pull towards me. Again, I'm probably overworking this a little bit, but that's okay. Just adding a bit more. And since I like animal prints, I'm going to add some stripes. For some contrast. Going with the number 1.2 or 1.2. And because I like gold, I'm going to use my Pure colors from Color Row. It's made in Germany. Again, I have a set that will probably last me for another number of years. So I'm going to go in with my paintbrush and apply a little gold. I'm going to have to do a couple of layers, but that's okay. I like Gustav Klimt. It's an artist. Hopefully you are familiar with him, but he's used a lot of gold in his work. Beautiful. So this is a kind of a nod to him. And see, I'm going over the pens, and they're waterproof so that they don't smear. I like these watercolors. Their coverage is pretty good. It takes a little bit for it to dry, but okay. So generally what I like to do is if I'm going to paint in metallics or glitter stuff, I like to use one specific paintbrush. That way I don't contaminate my other brushes by having gold flecks. Okay, that's done. And a little bit of wash here. Some in here. And here. And since I went over some of the black, I'm going to reinstate it. Just make sure, if you do this, that the gold is dry. So, what do you think? Not bad. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.